What up gamers, I'm Jason and today on Dice & Dragons I'm going to be teaching you how to play Zombicide 2nd Edition. Now this game is published by CMON Games in conjunction with Guillotine Games and is designed by Nicolas, Raoult, Raphaël Guiton, and Jean-Baptiste Lullien. Now this game is for 1 to 6 players, plays in about an hour, and is recommended for ages 14+. What will you be doing in Zombicide 2nd Edition? Well, you'll be taking control of X amount of survivors. Each mission is designed around 6 survivors, so depending on the player count, that will dictate how many survivors each player will control. You will then need to face off against the zombie horde and complete the objectives assigned by the mission in order to win the game. Now, for those of you that are new to the channel, take a look down below in the video description as we do have timestamps. We've divided up the video for you. The first part will be the setup. In the second part, we will go through the player phase and zombie phase, and any rules that don't get covered will be in that second part of the how to play. Now, with that being said, we've got some stuff all over the place. The game is already set up over here. Let's show you how we got there. Now I'm going to teach you how to set up Zombicide 2nd Edition. This is a custom setup that I've done. We're going to take a quick look at the rule book, and we're not going to look at the tutorial, the first mission Y-Zone, and review the setup rules. What you'll need to do is place the tiles in the correct locations on their proper side. You notice that there is a V and an R, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. You will place the survivors at the starting position here. You'll set up the zombie spawns as marked, as well as the exit. And the number 1 zombie spawn will be the one that you start at first. And I always like to go clockwise around the map. You will also set up 9 objective tokens and 9 pimp weapon crates. You'll have instructions as to what the objectives are and any special rules that apply to the scenario. Also, every scenario is planned at having 6 survivors. As I'm doing a smaller map, and this is something custom, also to get everything on camera, I only have 3. Now I've started to set up 2 of the survivors. I'm going to go through the survivor setup for the last one. Now, as I mentioned, the board tiles have a V and an R symbol on them. So when you are setting things up, you're just going to follow the positioning that you see in terms of the map and make sure you've got the right side. Now, what do we need to do to set up our characters? Well, first and foremost, we need to pick a color, and the last one we're going to be setting up here is Amy. So we'll set that up. So we pick our color, it's yellow. All we need to do is just place all of the pegs out onto the board, and you'll have a few extras as you'll be needing them as we play through the game. So then we'll need to go and find her survivor card. Now, if we have any questions about her abilities, they are written on the back unless they're very straightforward, such as her +1 free move action. Now we will set her starting health at the correct amount of 3 and 1 free move action there. I neglected to set Josh's health properly. Just found this other peg. And we will set lose health at 2. As she is a kid, she only has 2 health, but she does have a special ability that she can use once per turn. We're going to need to set up the police car reference if we have one in the scenario. Now, this one I believe is maybe just a little bit off the map, but you can see I've got one here on the board. We'll need to then take all of the search cards, put them someplace where we can get access to them, as well as the pimp weapon cards. We'll slide this up just to make it a little clearer what we've got. We then will also need, of course, the zombie spawn cards. And in case we do draw the card, the 4 abomination cards. Now, all of these decks have already been shuffled, and we also need the first player token. And the way this works is that the first player, irrespective of the amount of survivors, on their turn, they'll activate all survivors that they control, and then it will go to the next player. At the end of the turn, you will pass on the token. Now, we've almost gone ahead and set up the board. I'm going to set up maybe some stuff off camera just to make sure I don't miss anything as well. We need to put out all of the pimp weapon crates. I believe the one I just dropped is off camera. The objective crates. onto the board. We'll also need to set up the zombie spawn, and to keep things simple, I have one spawn over here and one spawn here. We'll also need to have the exit, and in this case, the exit will also be the starting location for the survivors. Their objectives will be to get everyone a pimp weapon. Now, there's some pimp weapon crates that you can't quell. I think there's 1, 2, 3 that are visible. We've got 3 survivors, so that actually works. Next, what you're going to want to have are some noise tokens readily available. You'll also want to make sure that you've got a few walkers, fatties, runners, any of the zombie minis readily available for when you need them. Now, I'm going to just move these off camera as we don't need them right this second. We'll also want to get the doors set up, and you don't necessarily have to do this if you're fine just with the symbol there, but it always helps to use the door tokens and place them onto the map to show where all the doors are and where everything can get opened up. Now, I've placed everything even if it's off the map, and I just realized I hadn't placed one of the objective tokens. So we've got that all in place. Survivors are almost set up. What we then need to do is we'll shuffle up the gray starting weapons. We deal them out, in this case, 1 to each survivor. We get the crowbar, we get the pistol, and we get the baseball bat. Now, these 3 would be dealt out to the other survivors. If you are challenging yourself by playing less survivors, like I am, you could take these weapons and deal them to the survivors as well, just to give them a little bit more firepower. What I want to do is we're showing you how to set up a standard game and play. So we're going to set it up like there were 6 survivors, meaning that we just have, imagine, 3 more survivors on another map doing a different objective. We're trying to all meet up, but these weapons aren't available. And I gave Amy the fire axe just because the fire axe and the crowbar are the only weapons that can open doors. Now, if any zombies will start on the board, those will be marked. We're not going to go and have anything set up. Most missions in Zombicide will start off with the board in this state, and then you're just going to need to have all of your dice ready to go. And what I'll do during the how to play to track the first player is I'm going to move the token through all the different survivors and treat each of them like they are a separate player. So there you have it. We've gone ahead and set up Zombicide 2nd Edition. As you can see, it's fairly straightforward. Our objective is to get as many pimp weapons as possible for the survivors, and we're also going to go through all of the different rules. We'll talk a little bit about some of the variants, teach you how to drive the car. So what we'll start out with in the how to play will be a couple rounds of the game, then you'll see a quick break, and I'll come back with some of the variant rules. Now keep it right here. I'll be right back. Now we're going to teach you how to play Zombicide 2nd Edition by going through a few rounds of the game. We'll take you through the player phase and the zombie phase. We'll probably go through 2 rounds of the game, and then what we will do is if there's anything that we do not actually cover, we'll do a 3rd round, a mock 3rd round, where we will take a look at things like targeting, priority, trading, and any other rules that just don't come up during our play of the game. Now, there are no zombies on the map, and each survivor may take 3 actions. I'm going to start with Amy, as she's closest to me, and also the fact that she's got the fire axe, which means she's in a good position to open the door, and she does get 1 free move action. So the first thing I will do is move 1, take a 2nd action to open the door. Now, as I have opened the door, I now need to spawn zombies. Zombies will spawn in all dark spaces in a building that are connected. For example, you can see that this is like this edge, even though there's an opening here. If the building extended further off camera, we'd be doing more spawns. But spawning is very straightforward. We just flip over the cards, see what we get. In this case, it's an extra activation, which means that all fatties would activate depending on the adrenaline level. As you can see, no one has any experience. We are all in level blue. So this card is actually pretty good for us. Nothing happens. Well, we reveal the second one. We get a Walker Rush. And this is 3 walkers and Walker, which means they will spawn, then activate. So I need to take 3 walkers, place them into the dark zone, Now I was going clockwise. I always like to spawn clockwise or closest. The walkers spawn and they then rush. Now Amy still has 2 actions, meaning we could either, move away, try to do something else, or get in there because our objectives, as I said earlier on, for this fake scenario that I built, is going to be get as many pimp weapons as possible. So we need to get in there. We want to take out some zombies. Now I only get 1 die. I need to kill a zombie on a 4+, and that was a terrible roll, so that really did not go my way. So we're going to move on up here, and we're going to take Lou. Now what's pretty cool is she's got charge, and I'm going to move 1 space. Let's move that over here for the moment. Take a look at what charge does. So during each of their turns for free, the survivor may move up to 2 zones to a zone containing at least 1 zombie. Normal movement rules will still apply, but what's pretty cool is that I get essentially a free movement. So I've taken, actually it is move, what did it say? Move up to 2 zones. So that's great. Heard my friend scream. I can move 1, 2 for free, having not used any one of my actions. Now I'm going to attack the zombies, each make an individual roll. So we defeat the first walker with a 5. So you can see 0 range, meaning I have to be in the same space. 1 die, 4+ to hit, and it deals 1 damage. If I was facing fatties, I would need to do 2 damage. There's a second walker. And then on our last die roll, we don't quite get it, meaning we get 2 experience total. And that is now the end of our turn. It is now Josh's turn, and hopefully we're going to take out this last walker. So we're going to move 1, and I now have a choice. I can either move into the zone, or as I do have a pistol with range 0, 1, I can shoot at the zombie. The only issue is that there are friendly fire rules, meaning if I miss, I'm going to hit one of my compatriots. The other thing to note that's very important is line of sight. Now, in terms of line of sight in the streets, from here, I've got line of sight all along here, no line of sight because the door is blocked, and into a building, I can only see 1 zone. If there are zombies here, even if I have a ranged weapon, I cannot see into this second room. Also, there was no diagonal line of sight, meaning to shoot this space, I would need to be in this space. Everything functions orthogonally. Now let's just take a chance here, and if this doesn't work, I'll probably rule it back, but just to give you an idea as to why you don't necessarily want to shoot into the room unless you have an ability like Sniper, to make the roll. But luckily, for me, it's 3+, so 50% chance. The bullet works out well, and we're able to take out this zombie. I could potentially want to move in, but we're going to have some zombies spawning. I'm going to take my next action and move 1. So now we are into the zombie activation phase. As there are no zombies on the board, they will not activate. The way it would work is normally a zombie would attack, then move. So for example, let's say Josh had missed. What would happen? Sorry, not attack and move, attack or move depending on what's going on. So here, we've got the zombie. If he had not died, he'd get to activate, and we'd have to deal 1 damage to the survivor. So it could be either Amy or Lou, as they are both in the location. Now, if, let's say we didn't have the walker rush, or they just had this guy back here, his activation would move him 1 towards the closest source of noise. Now, that's one thing that we didn't do because we actually didn't have too many noise tokens, and we managed to clear the board, but it didn't matter. But let's take a look at the noise and how it would have been placed. So we'll walk through that as well. I really don't enjoy placing the noise tokens. I don't find that they're really necessary. It might come into play at certain points, but let's take a look at the actions. Now, when Amy opened the door with the fire axe, she created 1 noise. Moving does not create a noise. Attacking with a melee weapon, as you can see from the symbols on there, there's an ear with a line through it, do not create noise. So we had 1 noise that was created here. We also had a noise created when Josh fired the pistol, meaning there were 2 noise tokens in this space. Zombies during their activations will move towards the most noise. Now, each survivor also counts as a noise token. So that will be important when zombies activate, because if you've got groups of zombies, and pretend this door is open for a second here, you go 1, 2, 1, 2 for survivors. And sorry, we'll put them here because this is what would happen. The zombies would split if there were an equal amount of noise tokens, not just with the one survivor. So let's just explain why this is important. Sorry about that. 3 zombies are here, 2 noise tokens, 2 noise tokens. The group would split as so, or 2-1 to engage the survivors. In any case, that's not what happened. This is the scenario that we've got. You see how to use the noise tokens, and I'll make sure to put them into play for anything that is relevant. So here we go. We're all set up. It's the zombie spawn phase. Now, I was just tracking the player. It's still, Amy was the first player. So step 2 is to spawn. We start at the number 1 spawn. It's 4 walkers that come into play. Grab a runner. 4 walkers in this zone. And you'll notice that each zone is delineated by the different crosswalks. I think that's definitely a nice way to do it. And then we get 1 runner that spawns here. The danger with runners, for those that are new to the game, is that they can activate, they activate twice. So they will move 1, and then after all of the zombies activated, they would then activate again. Meaning if you have a runner that's close to you, it would move 1, and then second activation, it would damage you. So they are dangerous, and target priority comes in order. As you'll notice, it's Fatty, Walker, and Abominations, meaning that if you have Walkers and Fatties in the same zone, you got to take them out in order. So even if I was here and I got a pistol, as it only does 1 damage, I can't even, the Fatty's essentially absorbing all the damage, and I can't even hit the Walkers or the runners. Or if they were just walkers and I could shoot them, let's say at a longer range weapon, well, I'd have to take out the walkers first. So not very fun. In any case, this is a scenario we're in. Let's see what we want to do. Now, first player would then be Lou. And we got some cool stuff here. We want to search for the pimp weapon. So we'll pull the weapon out and we get the gunblade. So that is a new weapon for us that we can equip in conjunction with the crowbar. It is a ranged weapon as well as a silent weapon. And silent weapon, I mean a melee weapon. And that was the first action. And as I don't want to, so I'd open that up for fun, but that's not the case. Don't want to necessarily be greedy with Lou. We'll search, maybe we'll find something good. Find a bottle of water actually, which is pretty cool because we'll use that right away. You can discard the water to gain 3 action points, so you may gain some more action points. So for our last action, actually, we're going to open the door. This is not necessarily the smartest move, but it's going to be a fun move because we'll get to see some different stuff that we can do. I'm now going to use my free action of charge. But the only way I can do that is using free action of charge. That's correct, because I can do that once on my turn to move there. But I'm out of action points. I got the pimp weapon, I searched, and I opened the door. But I can discard the water to gain 3 more actions, and maybe we can kick some butt here. So with the gunblade, I do 4 dice, 4 plus, there's 4 zombies. Let's see what I can do. Well, that's actually pretty good. So we take out 3 of the 4 zombies. Give me another 3 XP, push me up to 5. And this is a great example because I have the skill Slippery with Lou because she's a kid. It can only be used once per turn. Slippery lets you disengage from zombies without spending extra actions. So for example, in this scenario, if I do want to disengage, I do not have Slippery, I'd have to use my last 2 action points to move there. Now, if I'd had a terrible roll and all these zombies were here, well, guess what? I would not be able to disengage because it would cost me a total of my movement plus 4 actions. So that just would not work out. But in this case, I can use Slippery to make sure that I'm not standing on a spawn point. I still have 1 action left, and I can shoot with the gunblade. And I said I'd be using the noise tokens. So we will go ahead and do that as I'm taking my shot. It is 2 dice, 4 plus, And lo and behold, there we go. We've cleaned up all of the walkers, getting another XP, putting me on the verge of leveling up. In this case, Amy is going to move 1. Oh, sorry, it's not Amy. We got to go in order here. It's going to be Josh, who's going to move 1. He will shoot at the walker. Runner, I mean, sorry. Take it out and gain 1 XP. Now, staying right in front of the spawn is not a great place. He doesn't have very many great actions that he can do. He cannot open the door. So at this point, he's just going to move back to the space and kind of try to hold the center of the board until the ladies can come and open some doors for him. You know, we're going with the reverse of chivalry in this case. The ladies are helping the gentlemen out. Now, we go to Amy. Amy gets her free move action. The first thing she's going to do is grab the objective, get some XP, and the objective will give you 5 XP. She's not too happy with all her weapons, so she'll do a search. And I didn't mention it when I first did the search with Lou. You may only search in rooms. You may not search on the street. That's why Josh decided to move back. There was an option to search if you could get to the cop car, which I couldn't do because of where the walker is. So we do find the machete. We got another 2 damage weapon. And it'd be nice to get something to Josh on his turn. So you get the idea. This is what you're going to be doing during the game. So we moved for free, picked up the objective search. We got 1 action left. We're going to move back because we want to get back onto the board. It's not going to go into the zombie phase, sorry. So we'll do the spawn. We get 1 runner. And we get 2 walkers. Now, if, for example, Lou had gone up a level, meaning she would have unlocked an extra ability, so she would have 1 more action, then we would be doing the spawns at level yellow, which would be ×3, and the runner would have been ×2. As you gain XP, the spawns become more and more dangerous. But that's not the scenario that we're in. So we're going to do 1 more round. Well, not an actual round of the game. I'm going to toss some zombies out onto the board. You've seen 2 full rounds. But you know what? I'm going to take a quick cut right here. I think we've covered enough with the basics of how to play the game. If you think you're good, you can feel free to skip the next portion. What we're going to do now is take a look at some of the other rules, such as the cars, engaging with fatties, as well as defeating the very nasty abominations and talking about some of the Dark Zone rules that we haven't yet gone over. So keep it right here. I'll be right back. All right, we are now going to go over some of the rules that we didn't get a chance to go through naturally during our how to play. As you can see, some time has passed. Our survivors have got more gear, and it is now their turn. We're going to start with Josh because he's facing off against some walkers, but they are in a dark zone. Now, the issue with any ranged attack targeting a dark zone, as you notice, he's got a pistol and the army sniper rifle, is that you can only hit on a 6+. Anything else will miss, even if he is in this zone with his pistol, as his range is 0 and 1. It's still a ranged attack, and you'll have to get 6+ in order to hit. So let's try. Let's just see how difficult that will be. He's got the army sniper rifle, makes the shot, and unbelievable, we rolled 2 6s. So there go the 2 walkers. The other thing is, through this door, he's got line of sight to the 2 walkers there. He can shoot them. Let's roll the dice. Unfortunately, he misses. Now, I was actually going to do this with Lou, but I think I'll move this item over to Josh. So we got plenty of bullets. Now, this means you may reroll all attacks with bullet weapons, and this is a great thing to have in your backpack. There are 3 backpack slots. You can't have more than 5 items total, 2 in hand and 3 in your backpack. Any excess needs to be discarded. But with plenty of bullets, Josh can then go ahead and reroll with the sniper rifle, and it is a total of 3+. He gets the other 2. just crank that up again by 2. I might have missed it. It doesn't, for the other ones, it doesn't really matter. We're not going to get to the higher level. We're only going to really go through one round explaining this stuff. He can take his 4th action because he got an extra action from leveling up. So, his 3rd action, 1. Shooting is 1, shooting is 2. But we made some noise here, so let's get those noise tokens on the board. Now he's moved out to engage the fatties. The sniper rifle is a 2 damage weapon. It also has sniper, meaning you don't have to worry about friendly fire. Let's see if we can help out the ladies here. Now, the range is 1 to 4, meaning I can target this zone, or this zone. Only issue with targeting this zone is that there is an abomination, meaning that we will not be able to defeat him. We'll target the zone, as he said, to get rid of the 2 fatties, help out the girls, and Josh is at a monster round with that sniper rifle, gaining a load of experience and clearing the way. Now let's move down to Amy, who wants to make some changes with her weapons. Most of the doors are open. She doesn't really need the fire axe, so she's going to make a trade with Lou. Now this does cost an action. The reason for that is she wants to dual wield machetes. She'll give Lou the fire axe. Both characters can reorganize their inventory, as the fire axe is a better melee weapon than the crowbar. Lou will equip that. And Amy now is dual wielding 2 machetes. She can take her free move action to get next to the car. But before we do that, actually, we'll just show you what would happen if she decided to move here with dual wield. Because she's dual wielding machetes, each machete has 1 die and a total of 3+, meaning for a single attack, she would roll 2 dice on 3+, be able to defeat the enemies. But what we want to do is we want to drive the police car. And we want to show you what happened with the police car or the pimp mobile. That's why we're still doing this how to play here. So Amy does her free move action. So she traded free move, meaning she has a total of 3 other actions. Oh, this ended up in the wrong spot. Now she may decide to search the police car. What you then do is you would search the deck until you get a weapon, and then you would add it to your hand. If the weapon was lower, let's say you found a bunch of other stuff, and so we're going to set this Molotov aside, actually. We'll pretend that that was what she got, but we'll take a look. So let's say the first thing we pulled in the search was like water bottle, bag of rice, flashlight. So we pulled all this stuff until we got the sawed off. All these 3 cards would be discarded, and we would just keep the sawed off. In terms of the gameplay, though, I want to pretend that Amy actually found a Molotov cocktail, because that's the only way to take out an abomination. So you see how searching the cop car can be great. You automatically get a weapon. Now, one thing I do want to mention with the flashlight is we were talking about the difficulty of shooting into the dark zones. Well, the flashlight lets you draw 2 cards on search, and it also negates the effect of the dark zone, meaning you can attack as normal. Essentially, you're shining a light into the room. So that is pretty cool. So Amy searched the car, meaning we've got 2 actions left. She can take an action to get into the car, which can hold 4 people. It's the police car. Now, she may drive slow and move 1 zone, no attacks, so it wouldn't affect any survivor, or drive fast 2 zones and attack each zone that she moves into. Any zone with no zombies, though, does not trigger an attack. So what we can then do is just crash the police car, just for fun, into 3 zombies. See if we can kill everything. Roll 3 die, and it's only on 4+, so we only actually kill 1 of the zombies. Now, if, for example, Lou had been in the car, for whatever reason, would like to continue driving it, on her turn, they can decide to switch places, which takes an action, and then Lou would be able to control the vehicle. But that's essentially how you drive the car. The difference between the cop car and what you'll see on the other side, the pimp mobile, they are absolutely identical. The only difference is that in this trunk here, on most missions, you would have a pimp weapon, so you'd be able to search and draw one of those from pimp mobile. So there you have it. That's how you drive the car. That's how you do the reorganization and trading. Let's see what we want to do then to actually try to take out a abomination here. It's now Lou's turn. She can use a free charge, so she's going to move here to charge. We'll try to take out everything that's in our space. We'll use the gun blade. Works out well. Took out 2 of them. I'm not worrying about the XP just because this is going to be the end of the how to play. So that was the first action. Second action is we'll trade, reorganize with Amy. And we're going to put the Molotov cocktail in hand. Third action is going to be throwing the Molotov, meaning we will then discard it. Now this, as you can see, eliminate all actors in the targeted zone. And actors means everyone. Actors even include survivors. Keep that in mind. You then destroy the abominations. And for killing an abomination, like getting an objective, with the player bullets, you gain a nice 5 XP plus the other 2 XP. As you can see, that pushes Lou way up. Actually, there's also the other 2 zombies she killed. So that pushed her all the way up. Sorry, I forgot to put the peg out. All the way up to getting a whole other ability, which would give her an extra die for any combat action, which is pretty cool. Because it's an extra die for combat. Or, sorry, as you can see here, I can get 1 free melee action. I like the extra die in combat because you're just going to roll an extra die no matter what you do, whether it's melee, ranged. So pretty cool stuff. So you've seen how to drive the car. We've talked about the dark zones. We've talked about the abominations. Now the only way to defeat an abomination is, as we said, with a Molotov cocktail or a weapon that does 3 damage. I have yet to see a weapon that does 3 damage. So you are limited to what is in the deck, provided you're playing with the base game. So you've got 1, 2, 3. So the total of 4 Molotovs in the deck. Otherwise, you're going to need to be running away from these abominations while you try to complete your objective. And there you have it. We really covered all of the rules for Zombicide 2nd Edition. You've got that target priority track, so don't forget that fatty and abominations do protect the weaker walkers and runners. Walkers will protect the runners. There are a few other things that you can try out, some different modes. There's the Abomination mode, which I believe is on page 30 that we didn't cover. So Abomination Fest. And these are all the additional rules going really from page 30 and on. So companions and a few other things will show up. There's Ultra Red mode, which will let you get more abilities if you're just having a crazy time. So essentially you level up to 43, go back to the beginning, then you can start leveling up again. You'll gain new skills once you get into orange, and then new skills when you get back up into red. Now, if you do have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments below. I'm going to get out of here and come back at you with a quick outro. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. If you like what you saw, don't forget to click that like button, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so that YouTube will let you know when our next video is released. Also, down below in the video description, there are links to all of our social media feeds, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. If you would like to see Julie and I playing Zombicide 2nd Edition, take a look on those feeds. There will be plenty of pictures of this game and, of course, the expansions when we get to them. And then also in the video description, we do have a link to multizone.ca. If you're looking to pick up a copy of the game, click that link. It'll take you to their website and get you 10% off your next purchase. And it's a great way to support the channel because a portion of that purchase is returned to us. And then popping up in front of me will be links to some of our previously released content. Over here is our most recent release. And over here will be our review of Zombicide 2nd Edition. And with that being said, don't forget, keep playing games.